With Formula One's trip to Miami not too far away, I thought now would be a great time to showcase one of the city's previous ventures in hosting top-level motorsport. However, if you've been watching this series from the very beginning, you're probably thinking, wait, hold on, you've done this place already. Why are you going over it again? Well, you see, Miami has had quite a number of different attempts at hosting street racing. It seems as though the desire for racing categories and promoters to try and put on racing in one of the world's most globally recognised and glamorous cities is too appealing to turn down. With that in mind though, let's have a look at Miami's most recent short-lived street circuit. And when I mean short-lived, I mean really short-lived. This is the Biscayne Bay Street Circuit. It hosted Formula E racing from 2015 to 2015. In essence, it was a one and done event. However, that doesn't truly represent how immeasurably important this race was for the series. I'll come on to that later though. In the meantime, here's the track layout. From certain angles, the shape of the track looks a bit like a hockey stick with a huge surface area on the bottom and a handle that's gotten a bit floppy. The track was in the heart of downtown Miami, next to some impressive buildings / landmarks. Take the stadium where the Miami Heat NBA team play their home games as an example. As far as the track itself is concerned though, well, there are only 8 turns to have to think about, on a circuit that has a length of just under 1.35 miles and exactly 2.17 kilometers. Now, if variety is what you're after in a street track, or indeed any other racetrack for that matter, then I'm afraid you're going to be left disappointed by this circuit because, well, I'll just let this picture of the track map explain for itself. It's nearly almost completely full of 90-degree corners. Now, they're not all exactly the same in terms of characteristics, however the similarities are fairly clear to see early on. The straight preceding turn 1 does have a fair amount of width about it. However, as you arrive at the corner, that is in principle a 90-degree left-hander, the braking is ever so slightly angled away from the intended direction of the corner you're aiming at. The car therefore gets a bit unsettled into there and mean that going up the escape road is something that may happen. This though is a really good section of track to try and get an overtake on. The width means you can comfortably fit cars side by side and you're able to make moves stick. Whilst the exit of turn 1 does dramatically narrow somewhat, it doesn't stop this corner being one of the better overtaking spots on this track. Luckily there are more areas of this track where passing is more than possible, although let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Turn 2 and 3 are technically 2 separate corners, but in reality it's practically one double apex right-hander. Very tight this part of the track, albeit at least you get the cool spectacle of watching roads head over you. Another slow 90-degree right-hander awaits. Nothing too sinister this one, although that Tech Pro barrier does look desperate for food. Its favourite breakfast meals are carbon fibre and suspension components. You also go underneath the same stretch of road again. Another fairly long straight comes up afterwards, with the track widening up once again. Before we come to turn 5 and another one of the good overtaking places on this track. Once again, loads of room, heavy braking zone. What more could a driver ask for in wanting opportunities to make passes? It is another 90-degree corner this time heading to the left, although I do question why there needs to be a curb positioned where it is. It's fairly close to the inside wall, plus surely the inside wall is enough to clearly designate what constitutes the racing surface. I mean, it's not like anybody can cut much more of the corner if they wanted to. So in my opinion it just seems like a bit of a waste of time and effort. Up to turn 6 next, which is also another area of the track that has the potential for being a decent overtaking spot. It is though let down a bit by how incredibly bumpy the entry to that corner is, with the cars getting really unbalanced. Turn 6 is also where you'll find the entrance to the pit lane, which also has a huge bump just before you enter it. Due to the lack of space, the pit lane garages are on both sides of the pit lane. Not what you usually see in racing, but a cool feature I think nonetheless. The pit lane exit meanwhile comes out almost directly onto the exit of the turn 7 90-degree right-hander. The corner itself is fairly nondescript other than it's pretty narrow. However, the positioning of the cars coming back onto the live racetrack is a bit awkward. With the geography of what they had to play with, I don't see any other option they had, but it's still awkward all the same. A few slight kinks to the left and right, which pretty much aren't corners to really think about, lead you to the final bend on the circuit. Another 90-degree right-hander. Actually, no, I'll cut this one some slack, maybe 75-80 degrees instead. Either way, it's not a particularly good passing spot here. The corner tightens up at the apex a bit too much, plus it's not as heavy of a braking zone. Back onto the main straight we head, and just like that, a lap is complete of the Biscayne Bay Street Circuit, a lap that takes on average about 68 seconds to do. When the announcement was made that Formula E would be hosting a Grand Prix in Miami, the then Mayor of Miami-Dade County, Carlos Jimenez, said, "The FIA Miami E-Prix is precisely the type of international event that will showcase Miami-Dade as a world-class destination." Meanwhile, Alejandro Agag, the Formula E CEO, said of the event, "Miami was chosen because it shares the values that are the basis of our championship. It's a city that looks to the future, experimenting with new technologies, and is geared to sustainable development, as well as a place where you want to have fun." The event would also be promoted by Andretti Sports Marketing, one of the teams that was and still is competing in Formula E. Michael Andretti said, "We at Andretti Sports Marketing are committed to making this event a world-class experience, and we anticipate a long and great relationship with Formula E." Well, along with that and the generally positive reviews from people who were there, it makes it all the more surprising how the event lasted just 1 year. In fact, it's even more surprising when apparently the city mayor was personally involved in getting the city to be chosen in the first place. The city commissioners apparently agreed unanimously to offer Miami the opportunity to host a race for another 5 years. Plus, this race practically saved Formula E, as the series was not doing great financially at this point, with Agag having to pay the air freight of the cars to head over to Miami. Luckily, Miami was also the place where brand new investment was secured with new shareholders. Yet despite this, it lasted just a single year, with no reason given either for the city's lack of inclusion in the following season's calendar. Whether that be logistics, cost, a dull track layout, or something else, who knows? Well, some people do, it's just that it's not been expressed why all that publicly. The construction of the circuit itself did finish quite late, so late in fact that it occurred during the broadcast of the free practice session, with debris fencing still yet to be fully put up around the circuit. All in all, a chaotic and frantic build-up to a racetrack that didn't provide all that much chaos itself. Its importance cannot be overstated, but its impact on track seems to have been very quickly forgotten. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. What are your thoughts on this circuit? Should it have been kept on the calendar, or were there too many 90-degree corners on this circuit for you to be interested in a return? Say your thoughts in the comment section down below, along with any other street tracks you'd like to see featured in this series. However, until the next video, be kind to each other, and enjoy the rest of your day.